In a very powerful new op-ed titled, "I Want to Be a Good Mom, So I Got a Gun," our next guest argues against the notion that gun rights supporters care more about guns than children. Columnist Bethany Mandel writing, "For many, support for gun rights is motivated precisely by our devotion to protecting our kids." Bethany Mandel joins us now. Bethany, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
this
for having me.
op-ed is pretty powerful.
Thanks.
The title in and of itself. So tell me what happened to you as a child and your background that you write about if people haven't read the op-ed.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up with a single mom, and my mom was an incredibly strong woman. And my mom was a hunter, and they used to go to a campground where there were a lot of bears. So we used to have a lot of guns for when they would go camping. And when my dad left, she kept the guns around because there had been a rash of burglaries and robberies in our neighborhood. And I was sleeping one night with my window open in the spring, and a ladder banged into the windowsill, and I woke up and it was literally right above my head. And
How old were you?
3 or 4, and I started screaming, and my mom heard the bang and heard the screaming and ran in with a rifle in one hand and ammo in the other, and she just starts loading it as she's running. And
What
she
did she
gets
say
in
to
the
you?
doorway. As she walks in, she said, "Bethany, get behind me. I don't want you to get his brain matter on your face."
Wow, what'd the guy do?
He just stood there frozen. He didn't speak a word. There was no, I don't even know if he understood English. He just stood there, looked at the gun, froze, and then just started scurrying down the ladder. And my mom still had her rifle in her hand, and she walked up to the ladder, and she waited until he was about a fourth of the way down the ladder so that he was out of reach but still pretty high on the ladder.
Right.
And she grabbed the ladder and she shook it. And if she had pushed him, he would have broken his back. And so she really wanted to make clear that she meant
Don't
business.
mess with my daughter.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my family.
Yeah,
Mama
and
Bear comes out.
Yeah, exactly. And she said, "If you come back, I'm not going to hesitate."
So then you're now a mother to 3.
Yeah.
And you own guns?
I own a gun.
Okay. So I wanted to start this video off with an appearance that she made. This woman's name is Bethany Mandel. Appearance that she made on Fox News. If you Google her name, if you put it into the YouTube search, you'll see several segments on the news that she's done. She seems pretty well known. This is her Twitter handle, and you see she has over 100,000 followers on Twitter. So she's respected. She's a respected writer, and she gave her take on the viral dog attack that I reported on yesterday, where 2 children, really one child and a baby, was mutilated, slowly tortured by 2 pit bulls. Now, the article, shout out to everybody who's able to join me, by the way. Hopefully, Bethany is listening as well. This needs as much attention as it could possibly get. This particular story. The pit bull lovers are out, and they are trying to, fix this issue, trying to blind people to what we need to talk about, and that is bully breeds or pit bulls. Now, I've seen her social media, and I'm not going to say that she's not an anti-dog person, but she sounds like a person with a strong grasp on the importance of protecting children, which should be a basic instinct for all adults, right? But apparently it is not. That's why I wanted to share that segment at the beginning of this live stream to show that from a child, it has been ingrained in her through example, the importance of protecting your young. And dog lovers, specifically pit bull lovers, are raised in the exact opposite way. They're raised seeing their parents endanger them, and it's a lifestyle. But I wanted to respond to this particular article, surfaced, I think, today. It said no parent should have to endure the horror of their kids being mauled to death by the family pet. So when will pit bull owners wake up to the menace of a dog that can rip out throats? Asks Bethany Mandel. Now, I've said that several times here on this channel, that dogs, specifically pit bulls, can rip your throat off or rip your face off. It can rip anything off. So if you are in possession of one of these, and especially if you have one inside of a home where children and babies are, you are guilty of child endangerment based on child endangerment laws that we currently have on the books. Our laws are simply not applied to pit bulls. At the very least, bully breeds and other large, vicious dogs. Now, this is a basic and obvious question. When will they wake up to the menace of a dog that can and actually does on a regular basis rip out throats, rip off faces, mutilate, and it's not simply a case of deaths. We have to look further than fatalities, because the victims who are torn to shreds but survive have still had their life severely altered. And these are attacks that needs to stop as well. Now it says, no parent alive. Read the horrific news of Shelby County, Tennessee. 5-month-old baby, 2-year-old sister mauled to death by dogs inside her home. Hollis Dean. Let me skip down here to her statements. I want to share with you exactly what she said. Where is it? Is this? I think. Okay, here's where it starts. Here we go, right here. Right? Perhaps the most sickening of all, the animals were undoubtedly beloved members of the family. Now, I'm sorry. Let me stop here. Let me pause here. Here is where the fantasy and the lies and the deception starts. First off, these things are not members of anybody's family. That is part of what makes pit bull lovers feel so attached to pit bulls. And if you need to stop saying that pit bulls are family members, you need to stop saying that any dog is a family member. People need to stop referring to dogs as family members. They are not. You don't use a title like that when you're talking about a killer that's willing to kill kids and babies. Right? We got to be careful with our language here. That's reckless. It's just reckless to refer to these things as family members. Because, of course, you wouldn't get rid of a family member. So stop calling them that. You're playing games with your mind. They were the Bernard's pets, and they were pit bulls. She said, I understand what I'm about to say next will elicit strong, dare I say, outrage reaction, but it must be said. How many times must we witness these horror stories before we wake up to the dangers of this breed of dog? Which is what I say here on this channel all the time. How many attacks does it take? How many stories like this need to make the news before people wake up and treat these things like the safety hazard that they are? It's Twilight Zone stuff, man. Modern pit bull, like all breeds, have certain defining characteristics that were selected for over time. Okay? This is Bethany speaking. Sheepdogs were bred to herd sheep, golden retrievers bred to retrieve, and pit bulls were bred to bite. Now, this is the discussion adults need to have after every attack. Too often they get brushed off as accidents. These are not accidents. These are carefully constructed. The environment required for something like this to happen has to be carefully put together. Right? You structured a very dangerous home. And you should be charged and arrested after a death like this. American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals notes on its website that today's pit bulls are descendants of the original English bull baiting dog, a dog that was bred to bite and hold bulls, hence its name, pit bulls. The dogs would attack these bulls in a pit. Anything bred to mutilate bulls has no business, even in the vicinity of children. Pit bulls were repurposed for the vile practice of dog fighting. Now, let me say, the reason why pit bulls were chosen in dog fighting is because all you need to do is put them in a pit together. They're going to fight. That's their instinct. That's what they were bred to do. That's what gives them a high. They literally feel euphoric when they are mauling and killing. You don't have anything like that around adults, let alone children. What are we doing here? Yeah, we need to focus on the breed because these things are ultra dangerous. Now, I'm against all dogs as pets, but you got to scratch your head and wonder what's wrong with people who own pit bulls. She said, I ask, why on earth would a family with small children keep pit bulls in the home? Losing a child, let alone two, is an unimaginable loss indeed. The deep sadness and sorrow that I feel for the Bernards is real. I pray that they can recover physically and emotionally from this tragedy, but I know some wounds will never heal. Their loss is beyond comprehension, and they are, by all accounts, loving and caring parents who in no way intended to put their children in any danger. But the deaths of their kids should be a learning moment for other parents. And let me just say, you all know I had to chime in on that statement right there. I have a hard time saying that parents who own pit bulls, you got kids and babies in the home, I have a hard time believing that they have a strong sense of protection of their kids. There has to be something in your mind that's reckless, something that enjoys endangering yourself as well as your family. People, this is a very common type of fetish. Do your research on it. Many people are attracted to and addicted to things that are life-threatening, that are dangerous. Look at these types of sporting events, people jumping out of airplanes and helicopters, jumping off of cliffs. These are adrenaline junkies. Well, those people are just the extreme version of these pit bull lovers. Some people love to have something that's life-threatening around them. They love to be on the edge at all times. And they need this every day, day in and day out. I shared that article that talked about how firefighters are like this. Police officers are like this. Many people who have jobs that are very dangerous are like this. While I'm talking, I used to have a job like this, and let me tell you, it was exhilarating. Let me show y'all something here real quick. I actually used to do this for a living. I was one of these guys that used to propel down the side of a high-rise building and clean the windows. And it was funny because I would sometimes do an office building like this, and I would propel down my rope and I would stop. And these window cleaners, they have what's called a suction cup. So I would propel slowly down the window, and then I would take my suction cup and bang it against the window. You know, you got to get some pressure. Sometimes when I would do that, everybody in the room would jump and look. It was real exciting. And I could see how someone could become addicted to something like this. I believe these pit bull owners are very, very similar. And this is a dangerous lifestyle that needs to be called out. We need to examine this is not something that a population of people need to be doing. We cannot communicate with pit bulls. We know what they are, what they were bred for. We know how deadly they are. As soon as they start to attack, nobody seems capable of stopping them. We've seen several adults fail, sometimes even refuse to even try to stop a pit bull as it was attacking someone, as it was attacking children. You don't bring anything into the house that is capable of mauling you, the guardian. So while I do, I want to respectfully say that I question people's sense of protection who bring pit bulls into the home where you have kids. Now, Bethany continued. She said, I am no dog expert, and I don't claim to be, but I am a parent and a person capable of looking at the facts in front of my face and making a decision about the welfare of children. And I believe, people, we all should at least have this much sense. This is basic instinct. You shouldn't have to convince people to protect their young in the best way possible. Every other organism is born with this as an instinct. They're not going to bring pit bulls around their young. Unbelievable stuff. Continues, it said, of course, there is behavioral variation among dogs. There can be gentle pit bulls and aggressive golden retrievers. But in my opinion, the average pit bull presents a greater risk than the average labradoodle. As we all know here, people, than the average retriever. Yeah, pit bulls are more dangerous. This is scientific. They clamp down, they hold. It's a powerful bite. You can lift them clean off their feet. They're not going to let go. They don't feel pain. As Caesar mentioned, when you hit them, they like the pain. Their brains release opioids when they attack. It's almost impossible to get them to stop. They are the only breed that attacks this way. That is why their attacks are so gruesome and brutal. And that's why their attacks on people usually makes the news. They have a unique attack style. It's directly associated with their breed. They clamp down, hold, and shake their head to rip and tear arteries and muscle. And they will not stop. They will not cease their attack. You pull them off the victim, they will continue to go after them. We talked about appeasement behavior. They talked about how that was bred out of pit bulls. Two different types of dogs fighting, let's say two Labradors fighting, one Labrador could sort of give up, turn away, retreat. And there's a good chance the other dog is going to stop its attack as well. We've seen many lions do this. Many lions will fight, they will scuffle, and as soon as one turns away and retreats and submits, the other one stops as well. Because they understand that they cannot risk having a major injury in the wild. That could cost you your life. As a lion, if you have major injuries that inhibits your ability to hunt, that is why lions will oftentimes scuffle briefly and then give up. It's all about who can dominate who's going to submit first. Well, pit bulls are totally brainless. They don't do that. No matter how much they are injured, they will continue to attack. So they basically have no control over their aggression. They snap and then it's just kill, kill, kill. That's not a pet. Don't try to push that off as a member of the family. Stop it. Not even animals behave like that. Now, she continues. Does anyone really disagree with that? She says. But for some reason, when reasonable people question whether dogs bred for fighting should be in the home of children, others shut their ears. We have to stop this. Letting these people see what they do. They try to associate people's bias against pit bulls with racism. They do that to get people to feel guilty about focusing on the breed characteristics. Now, we go over this information all the time here. I understand there may be some new people to the channel. But when you do research on fatalities, it's like exclusively bully breeds. You'll have a different dog scattered here and there, but bully breeds, pit bulls, overwhelmingly dominate dog bite fatalities because they are inherently more dangerous. And it's significant. The increased risk is significant. A Bernard family friend criticized the obvious media attention the attack generated. She said, "Why does something so traumatic and unimaginable be so publicized? For what? Just to stir the pot in the war on pit bulls?" she posted on social media. Now, Bethany says, why shouldn't this be publicized? And that is what I say as well. Yeah, absolutely. We want to stir the pot in the war on pit bulls. Is there something wrong with adults not wanting this to happen anymore? Is that somehow immoral that we don't want babies and toddlers mutilated? What's immoral is if you insist on taking the chance. Insist on more babies and kids being surrounded by these things. That is what is immoral. But you see, they use that racist tactic. We got to get off of that. Dog maulings by family pets are almost totally preventable events. In fact, I'm shocked that more parents aren't speaking out. Listen to her. This is Bethany. And you better believe did I follow? What am I doing? Like I said, I'm going to make it a point to keep track of these writers, these journalists who actually say the right things. Dog maulings by family pets, totally preventable. In fact, I'm shocked that more parents aren't speaking out. She continues, said, this isn't some manufactured, phony AstroTurf war on pit bulls. Pit bulls account for just 6% of dogs in the U.S., but responsible for the vast majority of deaths of dogs and humans. According to the dog attack victims group dogsbite.org, let me say, according to all other sources as well, the sources that I've shown here on this channel gave the same results, almost exclusively bully breeds. According to the organization founded by dog attack survivor Colin Lynn, in a 16-year period from 2005 to 2020, dogs killed 568 Americans, and pit bulls contributed to 67% of these deaths. And let me just say, quite often the percentage is higher than that, because a lot of these different types of dogs, like the Cane Corso, for example, that's a bully breed. They have the same bite and hold, shake, attack style. Some of these other different types of bulldogs are not categorized as pit bulls. People, those are bully breeds. Several of these mastiffs, these are bully breeds. These are very dangerous creatures. It's time to get serious. This is an excellent article, man, because y'all know how they usually, when they cover a story, a dog attack on a child, it's very short. It's a very short article. This one is quite lengthy, and it is going in against pit bulls. This is how each article should be. Right? 67%. It continued, said, the reason that pit bulls are so dangerous is a combination of their volatile temperament and their incredible strong jaws. A widely cited 2011 study of 15 years of dog attack victims at a San Antonio hospital concluded that attacks by pit bulls are associated with higher morbidity rates and higher hospital charges and a higher risk of death than are attacks by other breeds of dogs. And you all remember I shared that long list of doctors who said the same thing, who got into detail about this point that she just made. And these doctors are saying that pit bulls should be banned. And like I always say, there is no more reliable of a source to let you know if something is more dangerous than doctors. And we got dozens. For those who don't know, simply go to the home page of my channel. Let me pull it up now. For all you pit nutters, I know you're a lot of you. You found my channel and you're trying to troll, but all you're doing is making yourself look very silly. If you go to my channel, the article I'm talking about is right here. It's the blog. And this has a long list of doctors who are saying that these things are far more dangerous and they need to be banned. Make sure you check that out. As a matter of fact, let me share a link to that in the chat room now. Right? You pit bull lovers, you found my channel and you're about to get educated. If you don't want to turn against your pit bull, you better stop listening to my videos. You won't have a choice. Right? The truth is going to slap you in the face. Excellent stuff. Let's continue with this. Shelters across America are filled with pit bull and pit bull mixes. Often shelters will call them mutts. Now, let's stop there. Y'all know I call them mutts. Worthless mutts, to be exact. Continuing on, knowing the stigma that a pit and a pit bull mix can carry. But no pit bull owner can feign ignorance. Their signature boxy face is a dead giveaway. Pit bull owners and lovers want to portray the data and anecdotes like this one as a crusade against their beloved pets. But their beloved pet was bred to be capable of ripping out their throats. The Bernards started posting photos of their pet 8 years ago, years before the birth of their first child. Wow. Now, I shared that information in my most recent live stream, but they said that they didn't know if it was the same dog. I believe it was, which tells you that this was very reckless. You had the dog longer than you had your 5-month-old baby, and both the babies. The other girl was 2 years old. So they had the dogs longer. And then you bring babies into the family and expect the dogs to understand, to view them. Unbelievable. This is terribly reckless. The writing was on the wall. The Bernards started posting photos 8 years ago. But even if your family dog, your first baby, has always been gentle and kind, if it is a pit bull or a pit bull mix, you must consider long and hard whether you want to take the risk associated with keeping the dog as part of the family. The most that anybody should do, as I've said before, is own a pet where even if it attacked you, it couldn't hurt you. Those are more like a acceptable pet, whatever type of animal you want to talk about. And when you're talking about other pets, chances are they're not going to attack you anyways. When you're talking about a pit bull, that's a deadly creature. And like I said, our child endangerment laws on the books right now say that that's illegal. It's illegal to own them and have kids inside the home. Right? And I'm skipping over the photos of the children. I'm not doing that out of disrespect, just so everybody knows. YouTube has a policy of not showing kids. If you show children in your videos, you could get the comment section disabled. She said, it's not that these parents don't love their children or that they are consciously endangering them. Bearing parents who are actively negligent, no one would willingly subject their child to such a scenario. It is more likely that they are in denial. And this is especially true of some pit bull owners who never want to believe that their dog is capable of violence. Reality argues otherwise. Let me pause there. This is a case of people being completely out of touch with reality. What do we call that? Those types of people are considered mentally ill. When you're so out of touch with reality and you're so numb to something that's so dangerous, that's a problem. That is a problem. And I just don't understand how this urge to view a pit bull as harmless is so powerful that you're willing to actually test the waters on a daily basis. Mind-blowing stuff. These are overt threats. Everybody knows the risk. As someone pointed out in the comment section, a lot of these people believe that the pit bulls are going to protect the children. For whatever reason, they think that pit bulls will view their babies as they would their own puppies. More fantasy. I told you this cult is rooted in make-believe, fantasy, imagination. And it's so dangerous because their imagination is the total opposite of reality. You're bringing pit bulls to your kids. You're supposed to be getting them away from your kids. You're not going to miss out on nothing. Nothing other than nasty dog hair, a bunch of viruses and parasites, stench. Just leave them. Don't ever adopt another one in your life. It's that simple. You'll be just fine. Oh, more likely in denial, especially true, who never want to believe, reality argues. Now she continues, to be blunt, parents must decide between their household pet and their children's safety. Now that sums up my channel in a nutshell. Parents must decide between their pit bull and their children's safety from the pit bull. Again, this is why I say when they bring these creatures into the home, they are setting an example. They're basically saying the dog is more important. The dog is more important than my child. So I'm going to sacrifice my child's safety for the dog. If anyone is going to get mutilated, it's not going to be the dog. It will be the child. I'm going to take that chance anyways. That's a form of sacrifice. That's insanity. Right? Now let's continue. By keeping this breed of dog in the home, you are making a choice and choosing your pet over your child. People, I kid you not. This is the first time I read this right here. When I pre-read this, I only got to this section. And it was good enough. I'm like, I got to talk about this. I got to react to this. I say this here all the time. All the time. You bring these things into the home, you are saying that the dog is more important. That goes for other potentially dangerous breeds as well. Listen to Bethany. I told you we're out here. We're out here. You're not going to silence us. I know a lot of dog pit bull lovers. They're going to troll people like us. Your trolling does not work. You either have to bring facts, information, logic, and common sense, or else you're just going to make yourself look and sound silly. Wow. Isn't this what I say all the time? Look at what she says. Human life is more important than animal life. It is anti-human to say otherwise. Wow. She sounds like a person who follows the channel. And it's deeper than that. It's deeper than human life being more important than animal life. Dogs are mutants. They were not created by nature. They're man-made. So they are technically beneath natural animals, all other animals. Dogs are mutants, and bully breeds are some of the most mutated of all dogs. Nature, if you relinquish pit bulls and other dogs to nature, like all other animals in nature, nature would kill dogs off. Nature would see to it that they go extinct. We all know this. Like it or not, the fact is that nature is against dogs. We've seen dogs out in the wild not knowing what to do. Told y'all dogs do the exact opposite of what a predator is supposed to do. They see something, a living organism far away. What do? They start barking. Why are they barking? Do you think a creature like that knows how to hunt? When predators see a living animal far away, they keep silent. They tiptoe. Dogs would be extinct if they function like all other natural animals of the earth. It says there are no second chances when it comes to pit bulls. Their jaws are weapons of mass destruction. Wow. Yes, most definitely. Mass destruction. That's not an understatement. When grown men are helpless against these things, that's exactly right. These things will mutilate your whole family, as evidenced by the damage and death toll attributed to the breed. The Bernards have learned this the hard way. No other family should have to learn the same painful lesson. The sad part is many of these people whose child has been mutilated, they will get another dog. As I shared yesterday, where Connor Landers was mutilated by a dog, his mother immediately, while he was still recovering from that attack, forced him to not only interact with a large dog, but brought the dog in front of the camera with the boy, putting additional pressure on him to interact with this dog. And we saw him jump. As soon as the dog walked over, he jumped and he reached for his mother's hand, basically saying, I am scared. So it's a tough reality, but the reality is there are a lot of very, very delusional people out here in the world who are willing to look at Jacqueline Duran. Had her face totally destroyed, and she made a point to surround herself with large dogs again. Brooklyn Curry told you that she still loves dogs. This epidemic is deeper than common sense. You can't simply talk common sense into these people. You cannot lay out the facts and the truth to these people. They're emotionally caught up with dogs. They're a true example of emotions overriding their better judgment. That's the best example I can think of. They've watched too many cartoons, right, of Fido. They've been too indoctrinated, and they will never snap out of it, no matter how many times they get mutilated or their children. So this is a historic article right here. And that is from Bethany Mandel. I'll go ahead and share her Twitter with all of you here. She also has a YouTube channel. I don't know if it's her YouTube channel or not. It looks like maybe. But another thing I want y'all to notice, she has a family. Where's the dog? Now, even if she has a dog, okay, that's fine. But where is it? This is her Instagram. Look at this closely now. Where are the dogs? There's a child reading a book, another child reading a book. I think this is a child reading a book. Where are the dogs? Another child reading a book. Call me crazy, people, but this is what I view as normal. It's not flooded and dominated with images of dogs left and right, with only one or two images of her children, of her family. This hits me as sanity. Good old-fashioned sanity. Logic and common sense. Let's hope that we rub off on as many people as possible. Shout out to everybody able to join me for this brief live stream. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. There's a lot of work ahead of us. I will once again be busy this weekend uploading content. Big shout out and thank you to all the support from everyone. And I look forward to the next live stream as we continue with this crusade.